All right. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? It is time for World History. Man, Kato East, I am Mr. Fuller. Welcome to today's edition of Fuller's 5 Questions. So definitely got a few things to clear up today because I think yesterday, I did a few things and there's a little bit of confusion. So I'm going to try to simplify that today. And hopefully, I think compared to where we were at a couple weeks ago, a much better handle on what's going on. Okay, so as always, we do have sound effects. If you want to tweet at me or send me an email or a remind message and guess the song of the day, I'm now adding on bonus points. The points are not actually worth points for your grade, but it's inner pride. So feel free. I don't know if you can hear this one real well. Yeah, see if you can figure that one out. All right, so here we go. World history. What does E mean in the grade book? So yesterday I started putting in a bunch of E's. Okay, so here's the thing. I assigned X amount of work. I don't think it was too much, but some of you were knocking it out of the park right away. Some of you were doing it when I mentioned it was missing, and other people were still struggling to find the assignments from like a couple weeks ago. And so that was creating a bit of a problem. Yeah, we were unhappy with that. And so I decided, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. Everybody who's already done that work, they're going to get the points that they got. Okay. Everybody else, I'm going to put an E for. So those are kind of like your assignments. And then you notice that there are a bunch of scores still left in there. So any assessment that's a quiz or a test, something like that, that still remains. Okay. So we're basically going to get two types of assignments. One is a formative assignment. One is a summative assignment. Okay. The formative assignments are just going to be marked as either completed or not completed. They do not help you to pass the course. However, if you don't do them, it's going to be real hard to do the quizzes. That makes sense, right? It'd be like basically if you skipped class for 5 days in a row and then took a quiz, that'd be pretty difficult. So same thing with these assignments. Like if you don't do them, it's going to be tough to pass the test. Okay. But it isn't actually going to be required in order to pass the class. So basically it's homework that is not necessary to complete the class. However, in order to complete the class, you have to complete the test at a passing rate, which would be very difficult to do if you don't do the homework. That makes sense? I hope so. If that doesn't make sense, please contact me. And again, that's just because, let's say 50% of the students did the assignments like the day I assigned them. Another 33% had finished them after I had said, hey, it's missing. And then, but we still had, I got, confusion from like 2 weeks ago. And at this point, I'm like, well, let's just take care of what we need to take care of and keep moving. Okay. That brings us to question number 2, which is what is the difference between a formative and assessment and a summative assessment? It's a good question. So basically, formative assessment, that's going to be those little homework assignments. Okay. Summative assessment is going to be the actual test or quiz, okay? And I will send out notifications. Some of you are still missing, like the Industrial Revolution assessment, summative assessment that needs to be completed. If you're missing an Ed puzzle, that does not need to be completed. Ed puzzle would be formative assessment, and then like a quizzes or a Socratic would be a summative assessment. So summative, you need to get done. Formative, it's going to help you, but it's not going to count against you if you don't. How can I reach Mr. Fuller? Oh, I'm getting so many messages. It's so good. All right. I would ask that before you send me an email, look at the Google Classroom, read it over. A lot of times kids are like, Mr. Fuller, I have no idea. And I'm like, well, if you look at the entry, it is right there. So don't just look at today's entry. Look at like yesterday's and the day before's. Now, if you go back 3 days or 4 days, whatever it is, and you can't find it, then go ahead, email me. You can tweet at me at NTFull11, or you can send me a remind message. But please do check the Google Classroom first, because a lot of the questions that I get are explained in the Google Classroom. Okay. 4. When are we meeting this week? Good question. Again, we're going to go 10:30 to 11, and then 1:20 to 1:40 daily. Yesterday, my Chromebook wasn't working, so I didn't do the afternoon meeting. But I'll be available 10:30 to 11 in the morning, 1:20 to 1:40 in the afternoon. Also, I want to add on, if you do have a missing score right now, that is something you need to complete in order to pass. So make sure to get on that. If you have a non-passing score for anything that is required, you need to redo it. I have all the assessments set up to be taken multiple times. And you can get the score that you desire, okay? So take advantage of that. And finally, are we going to be learning World War I? Yeah, we are. Let's go, okay? Last week we had a video, and I went through these first couple slides. I'm just going to skim through these first couple ones just to review the Great War, the war in Europe, the war to end all wars. Of course, as I told you before, it did not end all wars. Yeah, between 1914 to 1918. You guys are so good. I forgot I had given you these notes when I asked, like, when did the war start? Usually I get all sorts of bizarre answers, but I had forgotten. I had already given you these notes, and a lot of you paid attention. So that made me very happy. High-tech weapons, old tactics, okay? So they're basically done on battlefields, fighting on a battlefield with machine guns and grenades and poison gas and tanks. It's a terrible war. So basically they just dug holes called trenches, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. 10 million died, 20 million wounded, and 8 million went missing. This was the deadliest war of all time. That is, of course, until World War II, which wasn't called, actually, World War I wasn't called World War I until World War II. And there are some historians that believe in the future we will not distinguish between World War I and World War II. We will just call it the World War, because this is like a 25, actually, yeah, about 25-year break in between the two wars. Causes. Here we go. So you see there it says Maine or Mania. I'm going to go over both here. It's an acronym, okay? Acronym. You don't have to write these things down, but this will help you. M. These are the causes of World War I. M is militarism. And in Europe in the 1900s, early 1900s, there was a massive buildup of European armies. All these European countries were building huge armies. They're taking over Africa and Asia and all these sorts of things. And having a big army is good because it keeps your country safe. However, it also might make you to be more aggressive. So you had a lot of overly aggressive European countries because they had huge armies. A is for alliances. The European countries formed two main alliances. Alliances are basically, hey, we will help you if you get in trouble. You help us if we get in trouble. Okay? So what happened is Europe broke into two main alliances. We had the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance. Now, it is kind of confusing because usually we think of like people when they hear of alliances, they think of like Axis and Allies. That's World War II. Okay, the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance is World War I. And the strange thing is, usually we think of like alliance as being kind of like, our allies. And when you hear Axis and Allies, Allies are the good guys, Axis are the bad guys. But here in this war, Triple Entente and Triple Alliance, and Triple Entente would be what I'm going to call it the good guys. It doesn't mean they actually were, but it is the side that the United States aligned with. So we had England was in the Triple Entente. France was in the Triple Entente, and Russia. Okay, Triple Entente would be England, France, and Russia. Triple Alliance is Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. This is very similar to the sides in World War II. Imagine that, a war that leads to another war. Crazy, right? So Triple Entente, a good way to remember it is Entente is a French word. So just remember France is on that side. And unlike every other war we studied in world history, England and France are on the same side. So they're done with their feud, which lasted, hundreds of years. Here's what Europe looked like. So the red countries were Triple Alliance. The bluish countries are the Triple Entente. And then we do have some Russian allies there as well. And then all those brown countries would have been neutral. Okay, the problem with the brown countries is that a lot of them get sucked into this war as well. But you can see very clearly, like the stage was set for a massive war, and all these countries are building up huge armies in case there is a big war. If they made a movie about World War, there'd be like tons of foreshadowing, you know. M was militarism, A is alliances, I is imperialism, which we just studied, right? Hopefully you learned something from that. Imperialism is European countries want to take over other areas, especially we do, well, maybe you do remember, the Berlin Conference wanted to specifically divide up what continent? Africa. Lots of resources down in Africa, and European countries wanted to go take it over. Okay, so we got militarism, alliances, imperialism, and finally we have nationalism. That's Main, M-A-I-N. Nationalism, extreme pride in one's country, so much so that it leads you to, it's not just like pride in your country, but it's really saying like, you know, we're the best, and anybody who goes against us or anybody who doesn't think so is going to have to suffer because we're fighting them. There you go. So it would be like the Olympics if the Olympics like turned into riots because people were upset over the results all the time. Okay. So basically extreme pride in one's country, thinking other country is inferior. Now, did tell you it's either Main, which we've just spelled militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism, or it's mania. That'd be militarism, alliances, nationalism, imperialism, and it needs one more thing to get it going, and that's the spark. And here's the extra A. How many people already know what the extra A is? If you paid attention to last week's video, you probably do. The spark of World War II was the assassination. Who was assassinated? I bet you we got some people out there who know. Yeah, that's right. The Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. Okay. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was shot and killed by a Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip on June 28th, 1914. Okay, so he was the Austro-Hungarian heir to the throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Do I have a picture of him? It doesn't look like I do. So I got to go back here. Let's go back. So Franz Ferdinand, actually, I think his wife was shot too. Yeah. And the whole thing's a very bizarre story. If we were in class, we'd watch another video how like they were going to kill him and then they missed it. And then the guy who was going to kill him, Gavrilo Princip, was like just walking back to, he was just walking the streets. And all of a sudden there was Franz Ferdinand. And he was like, this is my moment. And Gavrilo Princip shot Franz Ferdinand on June 28th, 1914. The war started 1 month later, July 20th, 1914. What does that tell us? That tells us that the countries were ready to go to war. Because 1 month to mobilize your entire army is not a whole lot of time, especially back then. So all these countries were just waiting for somebody to throw the first punch. And this assassination is the first punch, and that starts the war. So basically what happens then is Austria-Hungary, who just lost Franz Ferdinand, declared war on Serbia. Serbia was allied with Russia. Russia declares war on Austria-Hungary. Germany was allied with Austria-Hungary, so they declare war on Russia. England and France are with Russia, so they declare war on Germany. And then Italy decides to declare war on everybody. So again, the alliance system intended to keep countries safe all of a sudden brought in all these countries. It was one assassination, and all of a sudden you got all of Europe at war. Notice who did not join the war yet? The United States. We did not. We stayed out of war for actually quite a long time in this war. So we didn't join until 1917, which I told you is a movie about World War I. If you've seen it, let me know how it is. Send me a reminder. Send me an email, smoke signals, write a letter, tweet at me at Antifa11, something, because I think that movie looks pretty good. Pretty sure the Fuller family is going to watch it sometime soon. As for now, the other night we did watch Onward. Have you seen Onward? If you haven't, you should. Good movie. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, we will have another video presentation, and I will give you your summative assessment. Actually, you know what? I'm going to post that summative assessment today on Google Classroom. It is not due until Monday, but I will post a summative assessment later today. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace. Oh no, where's the record button? It's always the worst part. Okay. Touch screens work. We'll stop recording.